there's a shot of Antonio Brown leaving the field, shirtless, in the middle of a game, and nobody had a clue what was going on. And as it turns out, nobody really knows what was going on, but we do know that Antonio Brown has probably played his last game ever in the NFL. So I don't know how this kind of percolated through the press box, Evan, while it was going on. I'm
Yeah.
sure it became a story or it became a thing, but just your initial reaction to this. And again, we have Antonio taking off his shirt, walking off the field.
Yeah.
You saw other sideline videos which showed he was heated. Mike Evans tried to keep him on the field and talk to him. He was literally trying to keep his shirt on him and finally just gave up. Antonio took it off, waved to everybody, walks off the field at the Meadowlands, gone. Bruce Arians announces after the game, that's it. Ball game. Antonio Brown is his Bucs career is over. I have to imagine his football career is over. Surprised, not surprised, but this is like I said, your reaction, and then we can get into the rest of it.
Okay, so I have one thing I think is really important to say about Antonio
His
Brown.
mental health is in question right now, so careful what you say.
Exactly. That is
Yeah,
exactly where I was gonna go with
and I
this,
agree with
is
that too. Yep.
we need to take a step back from football for a second with Antonio Brown and recognize that Antonio Brown is not a well person. Antonio Brown has mental health issues. And the things that are happening and that have happened with Antonio Brown over the last couple of years, I know we like to make jokes. I know people like to rag on the player. Always, now he's probably going to be labeled a quitter and all this kind of stuff. There is things going on with Antonio Brown that are important to talk about, are scary to talk about, and that should come before we make any jokes about AB. Not that we're going to make jokes, but
Well,
that
I'll
other
just
people do.
I'll just double down. This is Tom Brady, and I don't have the clip ready, but this is Tom Brady's reaction to it was,
Yeah.
I think everybody should help him in the ways he really needs it. We all love him. We care about him deeply. I think everyone should be very compassionate and empathetic towards some very difficult things that are happening. So it's the easiest thing in the world to say um, that he's an absolute knucklehead because everything that he's done at face value is knuckleheaded. It's
Right.
selfish. I mean, you're going back to it's vile when you're talking
Right.
about some of the accusations with that led to his release from the Patriots. But there's no question that I don't.
He's mentally
There's a
unstable.
cause and effect issue.
Yeah.
You don't know how much of that is because there's something going on with him that we don't know about. But
Yeah.
right now, just the way that they're talking about it, this sounds like a general level of concern. Like Antonio lost it today, man, and I don't know what's going on with him. So they seemed concerned, but what a frigging spectacle, and just what a ride with this guy for the past,
It also goes to show that in a lot of ways, if you're as talented and as good at football as Antonio Brown is, you get so many chances in this league to make it right and to be able to play. But I thought what Brady's comments were after the game were, let's keep Antonio in mind essentially, and say and basically hinting at what we're hinting at, that he has got a lot of demons, that he's got a lot of issues that he's going through, that he's working through, and that is why we're seeing this behavior. This is not because Antonio Brown is a bad person, or Antonio Brown is a violent, or a person that has these episodes and these burst outs. This is a mental health issue more than anything else. And I understand that why Bruce Arians said what he said after the game, that he's no longer a Buck and all this kind of stuff. But and maybe Arians said some nicer things other than that. But I'm not saying that you necessarily need to keep the guy on your football team or even play him. But Antonio Brown needs help. He needs support. He needs people to have his back. And if Bruce Arians and the Bucks are turning on him and just basically saying, here's the door, I think that's a little bit disappointing, because you invested in the guy and you knew what you were getting yourself into when you signed him to your team, and now you basically don't want to back it up, right? Now that he's having these issues again and he's relapsing with this mania episodes that he has, you no longer want to have his back, and I think that it's a little bit two sided. Bruce Arians, because on one hand, he helped you win a Super Bowl last year and you were perfectly fine with that, right? You're perfectly fine with him winning you Super Bowls and playing great on the
Well,
field.
to be fair, from Arians' perspective, he didn't want him in the first place and got a little bit strong-armed in the situation. When he took over, he'd said there's no chance someone like that's ever coming here, and then Brady really kind of made it happen. So,
I get that. I just feel like
you know,
they were totally cool with Antonio Brown when things were going well, and they were willing to ride with Antonio Brown uh, through it all because he was catching touchdowns and making plays for them on the field. Now that Antonio Brown needs Bruce Arians' help, it's here's the door. So
and I
with
don't
those types of
disagree.
people, you can't be like that, right?
It's the screwed up aspect of the NFL system, especially when it came to at least the old version of the drug policy and a person like Josh Gordon, is the environment by which someone who has some issues or some demons or different things that they might need help with, the place that they're going to get that is in the controlled environment and the
Sure.
infrastructure of an NFL organization that can put you through some sort of program and have you doing things and keep tabs on you
Yeah,
and
and
make
I'm
sure that
not
you're doing well.
suggesting
And
that.
when you let them go is where they just go out, where people can go off
Right.
the rails. Talking out of both sides of my mouth, I will say a little bit. This is the deal you do with the devil. If you didn't want him here in the first place, you really didn't want anything to do with him because you didn't want to manage the whole package of it. And
Yeah.
so it's as long as you play well and you're not a problem. This is the cold business of the NFL. You
I
play
have
well
no
and
problem with
you
Bruce
play well
Arians
and you're not a
saying,
problem. I'm gonna keep you. As soon as you
right.
become a problem to the rest of my team, I do not have time for it. So whether you're well or not well, I think that's kind of what he said is I can't have this be a thing for
And
us.
that's totally fine. It's
Yeah.
totally fine that they don't want to employ Antonio Brown anymore. It's totally fine that they don't want him to play football for them anymore. But behind the scenes, and I
It
don't
would
know
be
what Bruce.
nice if they sought to help him out.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know if what Bruce Arians is going to do in terms of on a personal level, but if Bruce Arians is burning that bridge football wise, totally fine with that. It's a business. It's the National Football League. There's no free handouts. But if Bruce Arians and the Bucks are saying, "Screw you, Antonio, go figure out your shit on your own," that's where I start to have an
Yeah.
issue because they you got to ride or die with your guys, right? Whether good or bad, thick and thin. If you're truly a good head football coach and a good person, then you don't just turn your back on people when the going gets tough. And I
There's
feel like that there's a little bit of that going on with the Bucks right now.
There's no doubt, and at the end of the day, it's really hard to know. There's a fair amount of speculation here. I think everybody instantly assumes something's not right, and you read the tone and the tenor of the post-game comments, particularly from Brady, and you do get the sense something's not right. You've gotten
Yeah.
the sense with other things in his life that things are not right.
Yeah, no.
He's not
And it
thinking
is the
things
Bucks'
through.
responsibility. It is your employer's responsibility to take care of the people that work for them,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It is the Bucks' responsibility to have Antonio Brown's back. And I also don't think that sitting here and saying that, oh, well, you have to, take some accountability, Antonio Brown. Sure, he does, but I don't know. I just feel like
No.
there needs to be. I haven't gone through it personally. I've had friends that have gone through things like this or similar things, and the one thing that those types of people always need is love and support from their people that they care about, right? And people that you can't just have their back one day and then not have their back the next day. That's something that I think is where I have a problem with it with the Bucks.
Yeah.